Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming you all to today's International Affairs. This is being broadcasted from the SATV's Gulshan studio, and today is, of course, 11th June 2026. As today we shall be also witnessing the opening ceremony for the World Cup being held jointly by USA, Mexico, and of course Canada. There is so many more updates that I want to share with you all. However, before I begin the discussion, let me introduce my panel. Here in the studio, I have Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. He is a senior jurist of the Supreme Court and a political analyst. I welcome you on to the program, sir. Alongside, we will have Norman Floyd Barnes joining us from Washington, District of Columbia. He will be joining as our overseas correspondent, Washington, D.C. correspondent. I welcome him onto the program as well. As I make of today's discussion, I want to open with the situation in the Middle East. We have seen that Iran's highest operational command has ordered once again the closure of the Strait of Hormuz immediately after the US had launched strikes in a new military attack. This came very early in the morning as the Khatam al-Anabiya Central Headquarters said, from this moment on, the Strait of Hormuz is closed to all types of ships due to the insecurity in the region. As I and all of us look forward to the FIFA World Cup, the war and the conflict between US and Iran is still ongoing. I want to begin with Norman Floyd Barnes. What are the updates you have from your table as well? A very good morning to you, Norman.
Good morning to all. Today, the 11th of June, we start out with new news from the Middle East that Iran and the United States are trading missile attacks, drone attacks. Iranian military has stated that they have started a process of attacking, sending missiles, attacking U.S. military installations in Bahrain, Kuwait, and also in that region. So with that said, the United States is responding in response to the, as they stated, the latest incident, the downing of the helicopters. So as we sit here and talk about it, now we're looking at a more escalated conflict between the two nations as we move forward. And at the same time, Iran has stated that the strait, for all intensive purposes for commerce, transportation, is closed. So that reflection is causing more increase in terms of the cost of fuel, the cost of energy, and the safety and security of the region. So we are now back to where we started. Nothing has changed. The ceasefire conversations are still planning to go on, but as I view it right now, we are looking at several months, even maybe a year, before we get to some type of agreement on how this is going to work. So in the meantime, the cost of everything is going to increase, and the relationships between the countries are getting more tense. We're talking about the World Cup is starting here in the United States. That political situation is now bleeded into the sports arena.
Right.
The prices of the tickets are increasing. They are going up. They talk about the prices. People are being denied visas to come here from that region, denied visas getting into the United States. And if they do get into the United States, the cost is basically at what we call North American rates, which is very high. So we are now looking at the next couple of months. I'll say through the end of the year, we'll be going through this process. I do not see any chances of a agreement being made during that time because of the hostilities. And the other part I just got to mention was the issue with Israel. Israel is continuing their bombardment, their campaign, their mission on cleansing Gaza and the Palestinian efforts. So that is part of it, the strait, the sanctions, and now Israel and this horrific attack on the Palestinian situation in the Middle East. So Right now, everything is the same, which is basically a hot mess.
Right, and I want to take away from Norman Floyd Barnes' statement. We are back to square one with this intense situation between US and Iran in the backdrop of this worldwide event taking place in the United States, the World Cup of 2026. Coming to the studio with Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain, I want to talk some of the legal issues that you see as the day progresses. We've seen that the American bases in the Middle East are now once again being targeted by Iran, and retaliatory strikes are taking place on the US side as well. Just a news from this week, a very popular African Somali inherited background referee had acquired his US visa, had traveled to the US, and then he was barred from entry into the US. Of course, he is not a player, he is an official for FIFA who is to only referee some of the games. However, he wasn't allowed entry, and he came back to Somalia, and the people in Somalia were praising him like a national hero. He was, of course, going to be the first Somali referee to officiate at the World Cup. Some of the legal consequences that are coming about in this very World Cup, it is going to take place all over Northern America, includes the United States, Mexico, and Canada as well. Just your remarks regarding this international situation between Iran and the US, of course, faltering ties with Israel as well. Some of the comments shared between the leaders of Israel and US seem to deliver a different kind of narrative this time around. How are you seeing all of these events?
Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you, Mr. Barn and the audience.
You.
Yeah,
Good morning.
coming to your first question, the referee was barred entering USA having a valid visa. So we saw earlier also that in the game, the very spirit of the game is the international relations, then spirit of the games, peace and harmony.
Right.
So this is not the first time that this discrimination has taken place. It has taken place earlier also. We know from history there was a situation, a white, some president did not shake hand with a black player. And in protest of that, that player dropped his medal in the ocean. So coming to the international relations and peace and harmony, one of the biggest event, the World Cup football. The other biggest event is the Olympic game and the also Cricket World Cup. So the spirit of peace and harmony and anti-discrimination attitude that has been definitely damaged.
Right.
So in the beginning, and we heard that the Iranian team will not be allowed to enter USA.
Only being allowed for their games, and immediately when their games are over, they're going to be coming back and forth between Mexico and the US.
Mexico and USA. So, in this game, we clearly see that the political effect, this is taking place. So this World Cup game could not come free of the world politics. Coming back to your Iran and Israel issue, we said many times that as long Netanyahu, a war criminal, a heinous war criminal like Netanyahu, who has a warrant order against him issued by International War Crimes Tribunal, and this is USA, especially President Trump, is protecting, harboring, nurturing this war criminal. This is very much unexpected. As long this war criminal is there in the Middle East, in the Israel, I don't think that any peace mission, any ceasefire or the war will stop. Now this Netanyahu has turned to be a real danger of the world. President Trump cannot control him, and that's why they had this hot words between them. You fucking stupid. So that's why the problem is with Israel. Basically, the president of Israel, this Prime Minister Israel Netanyahu, he will not stop this war game, this war against the war against Iran and wherever he can, Lebanon and also Gaza. So I think President Trump has realized that he has done a mistake first of all, he has done a mistake. He admitted that we should not have gone to this war. So if you have realized that, then he should control Netanyahu. Until and unless you control Netanyahu, this war will not stop. If you hit Iran, Iran will retaliate. So that's what is happening. So the ceasefire is in the fragile state. There is no ceasefire at this moment. So US should rather control Netanyahu, and US should facilitate for his arrest and put him in the trial in the International War Crimes Tribunal. Only then the peace and the war will stop in the Middle East. I believe in that.
Of course, excellent statements made by Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. It opens up the discussion regarding Israel, regarding Benjamin Netanyahu and his administration and how they are conducting illegal strikes and operations into Lebanon. I want to ask Norman this very next question. Lebanon and Israel both had negotiations in Washington, in the United States of America, regarding a ceasefire, regarding how to navigate the months and weeks forward. However, this time around, it's not only Donald Trump that has sparked inflammatory remarks between Netanyahu, it's also U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance stating that Benjamin Netanyahu has certainly gotten some things wrong in his dealings with Washington, but declined to elaborate on these disagreements in an excerpt of an interview. This is the latest I have with me. I want a remark from you, Norman. As the World Cup is continuing, we still do not see any kind of halt to this warlike situation in the Middle East. It's not only Iran that we're concerned about, it is also Lebanon and the common Lebanese folk. I want to get a know-how from you. What kind of limitations will the Israelis cross that will not be accepted by Washington, if not Washington's clear remarks of not retaliating in this regard with Iran and Lebanon? Of course, there is Hezbollah, but that is an integral part of Lebanon as well. Norman.
Yes, my comments is just an observation. I'm not privy to the information with the Pentagon and the president and secretary regarding their tactics for the war. But however, from outside looking in, the appearances that there's a problem with managing Israel. Israel has its own mandate, and they had the mission from the inception, regardless of what they say and what they agreed to. They have their own mandate. And that mandate supersedes whatever the United States and President Trump may wish for the Prime Minister and his country to do in regarding the Middle East. So as long as this freelance, independent actions done by Israel, we would never have any type of stability in the Middle East. Israel has a single mission, and that is to basically to create an environment where their enemies do not exist. So who they perceive as enemies, that's a question. It could be day to day. But right now, the Palestinians is a real problem for them to fulfill their mission. So they need to cleanse and get rid of them and put them in a situation where they'd be no longer a problem for them as they move forward in the future. Unfortunately, the world is watching, the world see, and that is not how things happen, human to human. So right now, the United States has to basically make a decision on exactly how they're going to move forward in the future. Do we tag along and allow and condone and support non-complicit with Israel actions to achieve what we want to achieve in the Middle East? Or do we sabotage and create a new path, isolating Israel to the point where they will basically self-destruct in terms of what they want to do? So the point right now is, which way do we go? There will obviously be no peace consideration without the situation with Israel and the Palestinian area. The question is always coming back, has been for decades. the Palestinian people need a place. They need a part of land. They should have their own country and their own region like everyone else. So the issue is when and where this happened. And until that question is answered, you will have conflict in that area.
Of course, and that was an excellent statement made by Norman Floyd Barnes on how to proceed on to the affairs of tomorrow and whether or not the leaders will come back to the decision table. Of course, there is a story coming from the Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian of China, of Beijing, and he is stating that they are gravely concerned about this current situation between Iran and the US. Of course, we look forward to how these two countries will come to the resolution table. But that being said, it's time to take a short commercial break. Afterwards, we look at Northern Ireland and how the protest is now lingering on to its second night. Do stay tuned on this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panta.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen,
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks,
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panta.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
Testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen,
really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks,
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of this.
Welcoming our guests back on International Affairs. Today, I'm joined in the studio with Barrister Sarwar Hussain, alongside Norman Floyd Barnes, joining us from Washington, District of Columbia. I want to discuss at this very moment regarding Northern Ireland into a second night of protesters taking to the streets. Of course, the story we have recapped it yesterday. Let me just put in some details. Of course, Hadi Aloded, 30, he was the main accused in this anti-immigration or this violent attack, a knife attack. He's of course from Sudanese background, and he is charged in a Belfast court with attempted murder in a stabbing attack that left a man injured and triggered such an anti-immigrant violence in that part of Northern Ireland. I want to ask Barrister Sarwar Hussain first regarding this very issue. Of course, social media had a very big role to play here, as while this incident was occurring, a video was then made very viral, and that is what caused the strain between the locals that reside there with immigrants from around the world. So right now there are clashes with the police. It came several hours later, and police have used water cannons on protesters after this violence had spread. Of course, what they did was they went to various houses in such a neighborhood and then emptied those houses, burned them to the ground, and it made sure that foreigners or immigrants who were living there were empty on the streets. It's a terror followed by more terror, and that creates a pattern of chaos. I want to get a comment from you as well.
Look, this is a worldwide trend that the rightist politics, the radical sentiment is on the rise. This is not only in Ireland, it happens everywhere. It happens from Tunisia to Bangladesh to Syria. This Bangladesh, we call it Gen Z, right? And latest in India, this cockroach party. See, they have started a movement with the slogan Inqilab Zindabad. So what happened in Ireland, this definitely aroused the sentiment. But well, again, it cannot be generalized. It is a criminal offense committed by an individual. For this individual offense, whole immigration process, or you cannot blame everyone. There are good people, there are bad people. So he has committed a criminal offense. He is being under trial. But the sentiment of the young generation, as it was viral in social media. So we see that social media really played a very vital role in building the opinion, building the sentiments, building the movements very quickly. Right. So time has come that no way you can ignore the influence of social media. And there are many positive sides. There are negatives, but there are positives where some offense is being done. And if you can video that every person has a smartphone, is some sort of doing some journalism. Whether that come to the standard or not, that is different question. But by this social media, everybody is holding a camera, it definitely curbing some sort of offense. It helps. So this knife stabbing definitely can attract the sentiment, can arouse the sentiment of the young people, and that's why the movement has come to the street. So I think the criminal who has committed this offense, he must be tried, and if they are tried, they will have good trial. They maintain good standard of judgment. So if there is a good trial, then this sentiment, this movement will phase out. They will come to the sense that this is nothing to do with the immigration, but it is an individual offense.
Right, and as I make from Barrister M. Sarwar Hussein's statement that the establishment of the rule of law must be there in order to create a sense of safety between the residents of Belfast and the surrounding areas. Riot police came under attack from the group throwing bricks, bottles, pieces of wood at a major roundabout in the northwest location of Belfast. Asking Norman Floyd Barnes once again, we were discussing this very event even yesterday, and today we are seeing that it's still continuing on. Rifts between immigrants that have moved into this Northern Ireland with the locality people now fighting in. Of course, the additional officers were drafted in, but Tuesday's disorder was not on the same scale as on Wednesday. That is what is coming out on the major news portals online. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, this has a history of events following. There was in America, the Black Lives Matter movement following someone who was being disregarded by a police force member. So it's not different, but it's similar in traits. As Barrister M. Sarwar Hussein was also comparing it to some of the events that have happened in our region. I want to get a comment from you, Norman. I'm sure you can correlate with this kind of events and events of the past.
Yes, I'm just going to start out with this hot mess has permeated the entire planet. We are now seeing where every community on this planet could have the same thing that's happening in Belfast and what happens so much over here in my country, the United States. The tensions between the people and this government is at an all-time high. The issue of immigration, as we have over here, is particularly a serious point because people feel that if they can't have that quality of life and they see other people coming from other areas and they seem to have a parity or more benefits they seem to be benefiting more than they are, they'll get frustrated. So what you see now is just an outburst of a long, ongoing frustration with the people trying to survive day to day. Now you add to that an act of violence when a person not from your neighborhood, not from your church, or not from your area commit a heinous crime against someone you perceive to be in your community. This adds to the inflation, basically saying that, I knew there was bad and this has happened and we got to get rid of it. Our government is not addressing the issue, so we're going to go to the streets. We're going to take issues. We're going to stop people. We're going to do the check. We're going to do the job we think our government should be doing. Our government is involved in dealing with issues with commerce, wars, and other things like that. These things happen. The wars, the conflict in the Middle East happen, and the average person looks at that. How does the Iranian situation affect me at home? Well, it's destroying my economy. I have no future. I have no idea what's going on, or we'll be the next one. So they're very frustrated with misinformation, no information, and with the advent of the artificial intelligence, information has been put out there, set up, and released at a certain time to incite insurrection. So now we're going to see globally, as we talk about the war is basically in the minds of the people. Where do they sit? Where's their future? And can our current government elected officials, can they provide us the satisfaction and peace of mind we need? The answer right now, a emphatic no. So what you're going to see when opportunities exist like this at the local level, they're going to act out. These riots, these protests turn into racist matters because the people are perceiving that they are being put down, they're being overlooked, then they're being disrespected. So when you have someone who's been overlooked and disrespected, they're going to act out in a manner which they can with their facilities and resources they have. So what you're seeing now is a strong indication of what is going to happen as this conflict goes on between Iran, the Middle East, the Israelis, the U.S., the Western American way, and people are not getting what they expected from our elected officials. So they're going to act out in a way they can. It's like an old saying, when you're frustrated at work, the first thing you do, go home and you kick the cat. So basically right now, the cat is frustrated. The cat is being abused. And the people are now voicing their opinions with their displeasure with how things are working. It's a global issue. It's not going to go away until we address these core issues. All this other stuff about ceasefire means nothing. Very little outcome, because what's important is what's happening in my house, my street, my community. And right now, it's a hot mess.
Right, and as I make from Norman Floyd Barnes' statement, an excellent delivery of the situation, not only in, as we were talking about Northern Ireland, but around the world, we are seeing a detrimental effect regarding societal harmonies between the various societal groups. As I want to turn to the studio with Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain, you know, the United States has a very crucial role in this year's World Cup, being one of the three countries to be hosting this time around. Of course, there are some comments that the FIFA president Gianni Infantino has stated that they are not the kings of the world, they are only global football bodies executives and cannot override governmental decisions. Facing questions from the media on the eve of the tournament, stated as from Infantino that FIFA is focused on being a sports organization and shall not intervene in helping the US determine approvals for entry into the country. Last time around it was Qatar in 2022, and if you compare the two World Cups, still to begin tonight, the opening ceremony shall be taking place. However, I believe there are strained ties. It's not feeling like a very inclusive competition between the 48 nations that are participating. Just a comment from you, sir. This time around, I believe that there may be some kind of untoward incidences, as even in the beginning, we've seen a Somali referee not being allowed entry, even after attaining a US visa.
Yeah, you see, by all calculation, Mr. Trump is a hawkish leader, very unreasonable leader, and many has questioned about his mental soundness. So as FIFA president said, this is a sports body. You have issued a valid visa and you are not allowing entering him to participate for refereeing in some of the games. So this is a clear discrimination. This white championship, the issue that white people are the superior people, so by act it is being proved that you are not allowing, probably because of his complexion, only for his body color, skin color. So this very thing, the issue by sports is it want to be removed. They want to remove any type of discrimination, and you are bringing in that discrimination. And in America it happens many times. Lastly you said that it is George Floyd.
Right, and the Black
He is a black person, and he was killed by the white police, and there was a riot. And before 20 years, I remember it came in BBC, same incident took place, same type of incident in Los Angeles, where a black man was killed by the white police, and the case went to the trial, and in that trial, that 3 white police were acquitted. And after that judgment, there was a riot. Out of that riot, around 15 people killed. So it happens many times in America that this discrimination, based on the skin color, race, this is not removing. This is there very much. So in this World Cup, again it has proved that a black people, because of his skin color, probably he is not allowed to participate in the game, and that very act has damaged the spirit of the game. That's why you know that there is a lead news in a Western paper that this time people has very least interest in the World Cup. Why? Because of this political reason. Because
the cost of living going up.
Yeah,
as well.
Cost is going very high. A president of another country has been kidnapped to America, and a continuous war against people, helpless people. A nuclear power, Israel is a nuclear power, undeclared. So Israel is armed by America, and Israel is killing the innocent people. One is the south in the Gaza, one is the north in Lebanon. And always there are war. Since all those happening, this spirit of game has been damaged by these hawkish activities of basically Netanyahu and Trump.
Of course, excellent statements. And if you want to compare Donald Trump's comparison to other leaders of host countries of the World Cup, there is a Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, who presented the national flag to the Mexican goalkeeper Guillermo Ochoa during a send-off ceremony in Mexico City as on June 8th. As the squad prepares to open the FIFA World Cup against South Africa today, joined by the Chief of National Commission for Physical Culture and Sport. This only comes to show the differences between leadership styles, and how one leader may feel very empowered to support their team in the squad, pledging honor to defend this title, defending the country's name in an international platform. We've also previously seen the Iranian team, when they left Iran, they were kissing the holy book Quran before leaving. So this is some of signals and signs and how leaders can coincide with their national team members. We don't see, of course, the similar sort with US President Donald Trump and the USA team. I hope that there will be a very sound opening ceremony today, regardless of how Gianni Infantino tells critics to chill and relax. With that being said, it's time to take a short commercial break. Afterwards, we look at Bangladesh and how our budget is going to define terms for 200 million Bengalis. It's time to take a short commercial break. Do stay tuned.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
Opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With presidency of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. Welcoming our viewers back on International Affairs, as we were talking about various themes from around the globe that included Iran and US position as of today, the FIFA World Cup, and the much disagreements and agreements that were made before the opening ceremony scheduled to take place 1 a.m. tonight in Bangladeshi time. And when Bangladesh is mentioned, I must now talk about the upcoming budget. It should be placed by the Finance Minister, Mr. Amir Khosroud Mahmood Chaudhry, in the National Parliament today at 3 p.m., aiming to advance Bangladesh's transition towards a more investment-driven and a trillion-dollar economy. All of these are words, in my opinion, and I want to turn to Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. We've seen from previous budgets, and the budget is a very important tool to analyze where the current government is and how in the next 1 year we shall be going through economic positives and negatives. But today I want to discuss the nearing the figure of 10 lakh crore budget. Does Bangladesh really need such a high imposed budget? If not, what would be some of the remarks that you would see year on end? We are seeing this budget increasing regardless of which kind of government, and that has usually affected the ability for commoners to buy a lot of consumer items. I want to get your remark, as you are a senior politician and a jurist as well.
Well, we find a increasing tendency to put a bigger budget than the earlier regimes. So, if the bigger budget with a very high figure like around 10 lakhs crore, and if it's really damage the people's interest, there is no good result. It will not bring any good result. Now, we came to know from the treaty that you are likely to impose more advance tax for the car owners, for the vehicles owner.
Right.
How much? This is the easiest thing to increase the tax. If you increase tax, where is your service? The country, the capital city does not have footpath, does not have good services. All services sector are at disarray. So, the easiest thing is to put the price of the fuel, put the price of the electricity, and put increased advance tax for the vehicle owners. So, this will not bring a good result. Earlier, we have seen that a business person, Lotus Kamal, gave a very bad budget, favoring only the business community. So, Mr. Amit Khosru Mahmood Chaudhary is a business person.
Once again, yes.
So, we will see that whether he could place a balanced budget or favoring his friends in the business, that we will see. A big budget inflicting the people with number of taxes, indirect tax, direct tax, advance tax.
Advanced tax? I believe that kind of model does not exist anywhere else on this planet.
Yeah. So, this you are definitely annoying the people. People will not be happy. The Bangladesh has a very high rate of tax on the people. You see direct tax, indirect tax, VAT, and there is another tax SD, supplementary duties. For in a number of hotel and restaurant in Gulshan.
So, basically if you want to have pizza or burgers, something that is designed to be of a cuisine of a different kind, supplementary duty is added as well.
So, by your 100 taka, 25 taka is no more there. It has gone to, the government has taken. So, this is in the name of tax, this is an extortion by the state. A state cannot put extortion, state cannot exercise extortion in the name of taxes on its own people. You cannot extort your own people. Bangladeshi people are being extorted by the government machinery in the name of various bills, electricity, water, and all other service sectors. So, I hope Mr. Tarek has come from London. He has said that he like to establish a welfare oriented country.
Welfare, right.
By this tax, it should not be a extortionist country. That is the challenge. Whether you can bring a welfare oriented budget or not, and we hope that this budget will not be a extortionate, that you have burdened so much that people are really burdened by tax in the form of direct and indirect.
Of course, that was an excellent statement by Barrister Sarwar Hossain regarding the budget, regarding how we are going to see in the upcoming days whether or not the people will be accepting the mandate of this budget for the fiscal year of 26 and 27. I must thank Barrister Sarwar Hossain for your time and your patience and your remarks regarding national and international issues. I must also thank Norman Floyd Barnes for joining us on various issues of global importance. I just want to highlight today is 11 June 2026. It's also International Sports Day. The day is being celebrated to highlight the importance of sports in healthy, joyful and creative development of children around the world. Sports is not just a means of entertainment, they are a fundamental right of all people. Through play, children and adults stay physically healthy, develop mentally and acquire social skills. It is celebrated by the United Nations, reminding us that sports is an important role in increasing children's education, creativity and building self-confidence in older adults. Let us pledge to create a joyful and safe play environment for all children. Best wishes from me and this entire studio for children around the world on International Sports Day. Stating this, I want to sign off on International Affairs. I shall see you all on Sunday's program.